Hey fishers, have we got some action around us at the moment? This weather has been magnificent, I can tell you now. Absolutely incredible. I got a few reports from my old mate Maso down Orbit. By the way, he's retired now. What a bummer, eh? He's out fishing as we speak, up at Euclid, I think. But anyway, he did tell me Dartmouth's fishing pretty good. Don't know why I didn't go down there, but it is fishing all right. We're pretty happy, very consistent. Hume Weir, still super happy with the Hume Weir. Lots of redfin still. Look, the odd person's going to miss out, but they've got to learn how to look around and find those fish. Plenty of yellows, a few cod getting caught. Haven't heard of any trout for the last couple of weeks, but the Hume Weir is definitely on fire. And I reckon if I had a day or two off, I reckon I'd probably head down there and chase a fair big redfin because they're getting some big fish. 30 centimetres is pretty common now. Get the occasional up over 40. Getting some really good fish out of the Murrumbidgee River. It is cracking, absolutely firing. One of the issues you're going to have there is getting the boats in. It's not quite as good as we'd hoped yet, but give it another week or so and you'll be able to put your boats in pretty well anywhere by the looks of things when it dries out a bit more. The river height's great. It's cleaned up enough to spin if you want to flick a few lures around. Bait fishermen are absolutely cleaning up. So you get the boat in at, if you four-wheel drive only pretty well at the moment, but you get it in at Radgery, Jones's, maybe at Armstrong's, certainly out at Sandy Beach, Wantabadgery, even at Hour. Some of the boys have been getting in there. So it's worth the effort having a look around at the moment, so it's looking good. The Victorian streams are all starting to fish well, conditions are starting to fire up nicely, getting some good action out there. Mulwala, yeah, it's not bad. I'd have to say it's good, but I wouldn't say it's great. Still a bit of colour in it, that sort of thing. So a little bit of activity there, so it's looking pretty good. So it'd be worth being down there for a bit of a drive. Tumut River, great. A lot of good trout coming out of it. It's high, a bit hard to fish for the average person, but anyone that fishes a lot will be having a ball there. You get some good quality trout, rainbows and browns, whether it be lure, bait or fly. Fly's a bit hard, but lure and bait, no problem at all. Drifter scrubworm. Scrubworm is the hot property there. Lake Alba out in the middle, Wagga, good. Plenty of yellow belly and cod coming out of it. You can use scrubbies or Euro crawler worms. They're just as good at the moment out there, getting some really good yellows on those. Picking up some good fish on yabbies as well. And barty grubs. Barty grubs are starting to come back into their own. It's warmed up enough now and the fish are getting very active out the lake, and some quality fish too. A lot of little ones, but some quality. Walking the bank casting lures, certainly worth the effort. Blowering Dam, absolutely cracking. Getting some really good reddies out of there. Consistently hearing 40 centimetre reddies coming out of there. A lot of small ones obviously too, but you've got to remember that when we say the 40 centimetre, that's a small percentage compared to what people are catching, but they are good fish and they're beautiful eating fish, I can tell you now. Quite a few yellow belly coming out, some nice cod. The cod have slowed down a little bit, but they are still catching a few. Trolling seems to be as good as any up there at the moment as far as that goes. Talbingo, pretty hard to beat, it's good. Pretty hard to justify driving past Talbingo to go to Euclid and that, but a lot of people still like Euc because it is going crazy. Off the bank with baiting, Euclid's good as anything. Trolling's pretty good. Flat lining or lead lining doesn't seem to matter. Middle of the day, probably pays to use a bit of lead line up there, especially if it's glassy calm. Getting some really good fish doing that. Jindabyne, Tantangra, all fishing well. Got a couple of reports from Wangler. A lot of algae up there at the moment. It's really green in a lot of areas, not the entire lake, but in patches. But there is some good fish caught. The main basin seems to be better than the Abercrombie or Lachlan Arm. Lachlan Arm's a bit better than Abercrombie, which is unusual, but they are getting some good fish. Bait fishing is definitely the way to go there. Burrendong's going crazy on yellows and reddies, happy with that. And Windermere starting to pick up, a few cod, a few yellows, it's starting to look good. As you can see, we've got enough activity around us to get excited. Don't forget, our Christmas sales on, stacks of specials. Actually, it'll blow your mind, there's that many of them. You've got to come in and have a look. It'll take us weeks to put them on facey. So come and have a snosey and you'll be quite surprised. Catch you next week.